Hello everyone and welcome back. It might be the first time you've seen the ArcGIS Pro. So we are just going to introduce what it looks like when opening up Pro, and then what a project looks like. So when you open Pro as an application, you're going to come to this Start screen. From the Start screen is where you can create your projects. So across the top, we have an option to do a project that will have a map, one that will open up Catalog, and then the 3D scenes. There's also an option to start without a template. So these options at the top are called templates. If you do without a template, that means your project's just going to be in memory. So if you're just simply doing data management and you don't necessarily have to or don't need to create a project on your computer, you can start a project without a template and save it afterward. If we go off to the right, you're going to see where it says Recent Templates, or you can start with another template. This means you can create your own custom templates. You set up ArcGIS Pro project the way you want it, you save a template, and then you can recreate projects exactly the same way, database connections, folder connections, things like that. As far as opening existing projects that you already have, I have a list of recent projects. But I can also use these dialogues to go out to your regular folders and go find a project that you can open up and have a project to work with. Just really briefly, I want to show the tab off to the left over here that says Learning Resources. This is just a way for you to quickly get to resources for more training. For example, there are tutorials and there are blogs. In Esri Academy, you can get instructor-led courses as well. Let's go back to home and grab our class GIS project. This is the project that we are working on for this demonstration. After opening your project, you will see a similar view. Here across the top are those tabs. If you want to do analysis, you click Analysis. You want to do editing, you click Editing. And we'll do those later in this class. The ribbon is broken up into these different groups. This is the ribbon, and then you can see the individual groups. And this is how you can assist to find the functionality or tools that you're looking for that particular process. You can find Contents pane on the left and the Catalog pane on the right. So one way you can look at this is the panes will only dock on the left and right side. You can do top and bottom, but left and right is always best. But just also be aware that the views which are maps, layouts, or tables, you can also bring those out and float them if you want. And you, of course, could go ahead and dock it, and you can put things side by side as well. Now we want to get to this idea of context sensitivity. This is the part that makes the software intuitive, but it's not intuitive to realize what's happening there. So the way we can describe this idea of context sensitivity is the software gives you what you need based on what you are working on or what you have selected. So if we wanted to do symbology, for example, we don't have a tab for that right now. But if I click on the county layer, now we have a feature layer tab. On the feature layer tab, we can do symbology and other visualizations. So those of you that are familiar with layer properties, these are layer properties. So these are things that we can access through the ribbon versus going to a property window. And this goes even a little bit farther. So with labeling, notice that we have an option for a line when the highway layer is active. If we switch to county, now it says polygon. So it even recognizes what geometry you're working on. So the tabs, context sensitive, they will adjust, your ribbon will adjust. But we also like to take it a step further and talk about how the panes will also adjust. So let's click on Feature Layer and go ahead and open up Symbology. That opens up the Symbology pane over on the right side. And notice it says Highways. If I click on County, now it says County. So you don't have multiple property windows to deal with. You have one window or one pane to do symbology. Same is true for labeling. and the same for geoprocessing. So this is that idea of context sensitivity. Let's take one more step. Here, go over to the Insert tab. Then, insert a new layout and then select the size of your layout. Once Layout View is active, we're going to go up here and selecting the Insert tab. The Insert tab for the layout provides options to add layout information such as the map frames, north arrow, scale bar, graphics, texts, and other elements. If I go back to the map view, now it's got the insert options related to the map. So this is the idea of what do you have selected, what do you have active, and what are you working on. And the ribbon will give you those things as you navigate through your GIS project. Another important element of ArcGIS Pro is the catalog pane. This is where we interact with everything. We get to our files, folders, databases, and things like that. As mentioned before, this is where maps and layouts are stored in your project. So you would access all your project information from here as well. Same as maps, you can have toolboxes and database connections within your project. You don't necessarily have to use them, but they're there for your convenience. Layouts are right here. This is where you would access styles for those of you that do that. Folder connections are right here. And also locators are listed here as well. In ArcGIS Pro there is one tab that is called Favorites tab. What is this Favorites tab? Those of you who are familiar with folder connections, this is where we can go over here and connect to my files and data. To set your favorites, you need to right-click on it and add it to your favorites. Now you can access all this content, just like a folder connection, even though it's technically not a folder connection. It's just a favorite, but we can still access that content. And these favorites persist across all projects. That's the cool part. Let's talk about the Project tab briefly. This looks very similar to Microsoft Office, where you have options such as creating a new file, opening a file, saving, or creating a save as from your file. Here you can also see things like what portal you're connected to and what is your licensing status. The Options tab, this is probably the important one. This is where you would set the different options. A few there for the project level settings like units and tasks. In this Option tab, most of options are application level settings. So making adjustments to how you edit things or if you're doing versioning, all those different options to make adjustments. You can change the customization here. This is where you would customize a new ribbon. So if you have certain functions that you do all the time, make yourself a tab, put all those functions in the ribbon, and it's always there, application-wide, every project. Now it is your turn. Let's open the class GIS project or create a new project and practice what you have learned in this session.